So Colorado fans have a tough situation in front of them that they're looking at, while with Coach Prime potentially having to miss time, but we don't know how long. It's not a guarantee, but it's something we've got to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Thank y'all for tuning in to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. We appreciate you here watching us on the YouTube channel. I have a special guest here, Ty Hayes with Around the Table Sports. Ty, tell the people where they can find you.
Man, Jay, thank you so much for bringing me on. Always a great time talking college football with you. Really excited to talk about this today. Something we were bouncing back and forth off of each other a few days ago. So this is going to be fun. Y'all can catch me at Around the Table Sports right here on YouTube. I just do constant college football content.
Definitely. And while you're here, hit that like button as well. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We would love to have you part of both of our college football communities, as we both have a great time talking ball with each one of you. And so we're going to dive right into the topic at hand. It's Coach Prime. So news reports came down over the weekend that Coach Prime has a issue with his leg that could potentially lead to his left foot being amputated. And of course, none of this is rumors, because this was all broadcasted on the Well Off Media YouTube channel, as Coach Prime allowed fans to come in and listen to his doctors discuss what's going on with his health. And so because of this team and regime being so open with media, the questions now come down the line is, how much access is too much access, and how much fear is going to be really put in the hearts of these fans. And so I'd say that there's really not too much fear here, mainly because the staff, I feel, is capable of handling things while he's gone. But the question is going to be, how long is he going to be out? Let me set the stage first, and then Ty, I want you to tell me what's your thoughts on Coach Prime, this situation, as well as potentially coaches that can step up in this and take over for him while Coach Prime is out. And so the storyline here is Coach Prime had two toes amputated while he was at Jackson State back in the 2000-2001 area. He went on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, and he actually showed off his feet. You can see that on YouTube today. But he had a couple of toes that were losing blood flow, and he had blood clots from his femoral artery that led to those toes getting gangrene, and he had to have them amputated. And so, if you recall, Coach Prime was on a scooter a lot of the times while he was at Jackson State. And so now that he's recovered, he has a little bit of a limp, and it appears that the blood flow is still not getting good to that foot. And there's a chance it could happen that he would have to amputate it. And now, in talking to the doctors on the video, he made mention of that he would like to do this over the summer. That way he could potentially be back for the fall if it has to be done, if this vascular situation is not taken care of beforehand. And so, Ty, let's talk about this. What's your thoughts on this health situation with Coach Prime, and how do you think this affects Colorado going forward?
Man, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers out to Coach Prime, because that's just awful. People, your health is absolutely everything. And so I always wish everybody the absolute best in relation to their health. Hopefully this is something that can have a positive ending. Hopefully surgery is not required. That's what we're going to hope for. But in this situation, it is required. This is actually something that, Jay, you and I have alluded to pretty much every time you and I have been together and talked about Colorado football. It's something we've both independently alluded to through your content and my content. The staff that Coach Prime assembled in Colorado is one that moves the needle. Does Coach Prime move the needle himself? Unquestionably. We know that to be the case. We saw it at Jackson State. We saw it at Colorado. But at the point where you have former head coach of Kent State, Sean Lewis, as your offensive coordinator, at the point where your defensive coordinator, Charles Kelly, has a lot of experience as a defensive coordinator at college football at really big institutions, just coming from being safeties coach at Alabama, where he was lauded as 24/7 Sports top recruiter, an ace recruiter on the trail, you feel pretty good about your staff. I can go further. I mean, you have Tim Brewster, another name that's been synonymous with some of the bigger college football teams we've seen. You have Sal Sunseri. And for the general college football fan, you may not know who Sal Sunseri is, and that's all well and good. As an Alabama fan, this guy was big for the Crimson Tide. I mean, Alabama fans everywhere know exactly who Sal Sunseri was, but I want to turn your attention to two names in particular, one of which we've already talked about, and that is Sean Lewis, the coach that was the head coach of Kent State, now the offensive coordinator at Colorado. if in the event Coach Prime has to miss time, he already has a former head coach on staff, someone that, Jay, you and I have talked about could be poised for more head coaching opportunities in the future because of how proficient that Kent State team was. The interesting thing here, if Sean Lewis has to step into that head coaching role, there's a guy on staff for Colorado, the only guy on staff that has called plays with Shadur Sanders at quarterback. Brett Bartolone, the offensive coordinator at Jackson State, slots into the wide receiver coach at Colorado. You could have a transition that has Sean Lewis as your head coach while Coach Prime recovers, and Brett Bartolone slotting right back into being Shadur Sanders' offensive coordinator. You might not skip a beat in terms of what the offense wants to do at all because of that familiarity. This is why, Jay, you and I have been hitting this nail on the head for anybody that would pay attention. The attention Coach Prime generates, it's all awesome. It's well-deserved, but we need to be recognizing what a great staff they assembled at Colorado. So that's my initial reaction. They've got names that can come in and help them mitigate that loss if it is to happen.
And I echo that with you, as well as the coaching staff that he has put together it's really good. I mean, he has Mike Zimmer, former Minnesota Vikings head coach, as his consultant, as an analyst on his staff, to where he's brought in people that he knows understands what to do when it comes to coaching college football. And so I'm not concerned about any of the coaches on his staff stepping up and taking that position for him while he's gone, because we know that he's putting some people in there that has the experience that can handle it. Plus, just like you mentioned, Sean Lewis, with his offenses that he did at Kent State, he did some special stuff. I'm ready to see what it looks like with Colorado and that altitude coming this season, because it's going to be fun watching him wear people out, while at the same time stepping in to really run that offense with Shadur. And granted, I forgot the wide receiver coach was the OC for Jackson State last season. It completely slipped my mind, even though I've gone over this coaching staff so many times. He's putting together, he put his ego to the side when it came to hiring this staff. Let's put it that way. That's the one thing I have thoroughly appreciated about what Colorado can do and what it's going to look like for them long term. They know that having coaches of this caliber will do nothing but help on the recruiting trail, while also help with success on the field. It's not on Coach Prime's shoulders by himself. So he'll be able to, honestly, he could pull a Hugh Freeze and coach from a hospital bed up in the in one of the suites if he really wants to. He technically has capabilities, because all he needs to do is be on a headset and he can talk with them while he's watching everything from the top. And so I'm here with you on that, Ty. That definitely makes sense. And so anybody, if you're viewing this video, hop in the comments. Let your boy know. What's your thoughts? Who do you think would be the best coach to take over for Coach Prime if he decides to have this surgery and he takes some time off? We would love to get your opinion. We'd love to hear from you all in this community. If you're new to the channel and you've made it this far, hit that like button as well as the subscribe. And check out Ty over at Around the Table Sports. Give him the same love as well, because we're dropping constant college football content, and we would love to have you all join us on a regular basis. And so we'll wrap this video up. YouTube says to watch a video that's in front of me. I highly recommend it, because I curated for you all perfectly, and we'll talk a lot more college football soon, especially Colorado football.